Welcome to New Orleans, also known by some as the Big Easy, home of the Saints, vibrant architecture, and the best Mardi Gras celebrations known to the States. With an ever-growing population of around 393,000 people, according to the United States Census Bureau in 2016, it's no wonder that their town could be considered a melting pot of cultures. Of that population, females make up about 52%, with males making up the other 48%. In terms of race and origin, a large majority of the current population, about 60%, is Black or African American. The other half of that population is about 34% white, 5% Hispanic or Latino, and around 3% Asian. However, these numbers only account for people who reported one race, rather than two or more. While New Orleans is best known for their distinct music and spirited nightlife, as well as their Creole and Cajun culture and cuisine, the city is one that is rich with history. From their foundations with the French in 1718 to Spain in 1762, and finally the well-known Louisiana Purchase in 1803. It's no wonder why their culture is so dynamic. However, this city is not one without struggle. On August 29, 2005, New Orleans was hit by Hurricane Katrina, which at the time hit the land was ranked at a Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale, according to the Congleton 2006 article. According to Joanne M. Nigg in her 2006 article, the devastating storm resulted in one of the largest relocations of citizens in the United States. Yet, even after being faced with the disaster, the city of New Orleans was resilient in their efforts to rebuild and reestablish the place that they called home. In 2015, the Resilient New Orleans Climate Action Strategy was launched by the City Mayor's Office of Resilience and Sustainability to mark the 10-year anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. According to their 2015 strategy plan, being a city that has experienced the devastation caused by a natural disaster, they created the plan in order to address the dangers that climate change posed to their home, such as rising sea levels and extreme heat. However, rather than focusing on how to adapt to climate change, they instead committed to ending their contribution to it. Their 2030 vision is to have reduced their annual greenhouse gas pollution by 50% of where it is today. The most important part of a city sustainability plan is making sure the vision or the mission is truly one that is sustainable. In their ventures towards a carbon-free and more sustainable city, New Orleans is making way for their community members in their climate action strategy. One of these instances is their Gentilly Resilience District, which can be found on page 16 of their sustainability plan. The district is the city's way of geographically centering the implementation of resilience-building activities at the scale of a local district. What they believe in their strategy plan is that adapting to a changing environment will not be easy in terms of infrastructure. Thus, to help citizens with the adjustments in the long run, they want to focus on all the positive aspects of land and water management that has been successful in other parts of New Orleans. By concentrating all these systems together, they aim to exhibit great benefits for city neighborhoods, such as beautified neighborhoods, improved health, and better opportunities for recreation. Additionally, another one of their challenges that can be found starting from page 34 of their sustainability plan is to reduce the city's dependence on cars by encouraging alternative, more active forms of transportation. Their goal for 2030 is to have half of the commutes in their city be non-automobile trips. One of their strategies to help this movement is to transform their infrastructure to accommodate more non-car related transport. On page 38 of the plan, they talk about implementing a complete street program, through which the city creates guidelines for the street project that would reflect the use of all citizens. By promoting alternative transport options, such as walking or biking, as these methods increase, there is a reduction in household costs, an increase in economic opportunity, and an overall improvement for the health of the city and its people. While being socially sustainable for the citizens of New Orleans, there is also an importance of economic stability for the city as a whole. On page 15 of their plan, They discuss how the Deltic Plain and coastal wetlands tie their region together not just physically, but economically as well. The health of the coast is a critical portion of the economic infrastructure within the country, as 25% of the U.S. watership exports are sent through Louisiana's 5 major ports. Due to this critical importance, the city is working alongside the state of Louisiana's Coastal Master Plan to address the issue of accelerated rates of coastal land loss. The environmental pillar of sustainability is key to any city's sustainability plan. Lecture 15 specifically defines the environmental pillar as the city's specific actions to reduce the impact its citizens cause on the environment. This can include things like energy-efficient buildings or rain garden construction. New Orleans is adopting several practices that contribute to the environmental pillar of sustainability. Among these is the efforts to improve the fuel efficiency of the city's public vehicles, such as police cars and buses, outlined on page 23 of the city's sustainability plan. Alternative fuels are being explored by the city in order to begin replacing gasoline-powered public vehicles. An anti-idling program also aims to reduce vehicle emissions by reducing the amount of time that city employees spend idling in their vehicles. There is also the major recycling effort on page 23 of the plan, where New Orleans aims to have 50% of the city's total waste recycled by 2030, with intermediate goals of 30% by 2020 and 40% by 2025. Individual city departments will be monitored for progress on recycling efforts, and recycling pickups will be increased at all city facilities. New Orleans also plans to decrease energy emissions by promoting clean energy production methods. On page 29 of the sustainability plan, incentive plans are outlined where citizens are compensated for the installation and use of solar panels as an alternative to fossil fuel energy. Those using solar panels will be paid consistently through net metering the amount that the energy that they use would have usually retailed for. This is an element of New Orleans' larger plan to convert to 100% low-carbon power by 2030.
The New Orleans Climate Action Plan gives us a very promising outlook towards developing a more sustainable future. However, it is just that, a promise. The policy details the current and desired conditions of the city, along with a few ideas to work towards those goals, but it does little in describing a comprehensive course of action. As described by Timothy Beatley in his 2007 paper on U.S. sustainability efforts, discussion is a key first step in sustainable developments, but implementation is the most critical and challenging task. Not having a detailed plan of execution while setting goals and commitments can negatively affect the process of attaining them, as the false belief that real progress has been made can lead to feelings of instant gratification and a lack of continued motivation. Developing a sustainable city is not a singular event. It is a dynamic and intergenerational one. So, how can New Orleans' action plan more effectively reach its goals? First, it needs to more clearly articulate their plans to get the public on board. A creative demonstration is one way the city can motivate its inhabitants. Installing a green roof in a prominent, high-visibility location could help stimulate public interest and an understanding of sustainable development by allowing a first-hand glimpse of the benefits it provides. Another way to get people on board would be to promote definitive incentive programs to help residents reduce their footprints. The plan notes how a diversified transit system would be good for the community, but fails to go on to mention how increased or additional bus, bike, and carpool lanes would give people reason to leave their cars at home and reach their destination in less time and with less hassle. A last recommendation for the plan would be to clearly lay out potential partnership and alliance pursuits. In teaming with private and non-profit groups, the city could more easily inform and educate the public while also lessening the burden of government institutions in working towards their goals. The current action plan laid out for New Orleans is an encouraging and reassuring pledge from the local government. It recognizes and accepts the problems of contemporary society and identifies reasonable goals in order to mitigate them. In order to efficiently reach those goals, the city must begin to formulate more concrete strategies if they intend to meet their deadline.